Hey, what's going on, my American loving friends? Ryan here. Thank you for coming to my channel. If you would, give us a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. What we have here is MSNBC breaking news. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to leave presidential race and endorse Trump. That's what people are suggesting right now. But let's get it.
Breaking news here that we've been talking about throughout the course of this show. Vaughn Hilliard has made his way to a camera now from Asheboro, North Carolina. Vaughn, I'm so glad you're here because we could talk for probably 45 minutes. Obviously, the political universe is focused in many ways on this building here behind me in Chicago, on what Democrats are doing on the Harris-Walz ticket. But for months now, there has been, I think, a question mark of the spoiler potential from a candidate like Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who has leaned on the Kennedy name, leaned on the Kennedy legacy, and tried to use that to push his campaign forward. Now it's our reporting that he's out as of this weekend, and he's going to back former President Trump. What's the Trump campaign saying about this? What does this mean for the race? Talk us through it.
Right, both of the men are going to be in Arizona. The RFK campaign announcing that he is changing up his plans. Initially, it was going to be in Georgia, but that Mr. Kennedy is now going to be holding an event somewhere in the greater Phoenix area. Of course, on Friday afternoon, Donald Trump is holding what is going to be a mega rally in the West Valley of Glendale, Arizona. And let's be very clear here. Nicole Shanahan, who for several months now has been running as the vice presidential running mate to Robert F. Kennedy, yesterday on a podcast openly suggested that they believed that they were taking more votes away from Donald Trump's campaign when they were looking at some of their internal numbers. And I go back to a conversation that I had with RFK earlier this year, and I explicitly asked him, who did you vote for in 2020? Of course, the Kennedys, a longtime Democratic family, and he told me that he voted in 2020 for Joe Biden. But over the course of the last year, since launching this independent bid for president, really it was the right, the political right, that was welcoming him more into their fold. He was going on programs like Joe Rogan and right-wing podcasts and, going around to some of his events and talking with voters. It was folks that maybe were not so into another Donald Trump presidency who were increasingly telling me that they were looking at their intention towards Robert F. Kennedy. Now, his campaign has gone through some stumbles. He had been at one point, 15%, some in national polls. But over the course of what was a rather rough summer for his candidacy, we saw his polling numbers drop. And now, along with our Dasha Burns, we're reporting that we anticipate that he intends to drop out of this presidential race on Friday and back Donald Trump. It is not clear at this time whether or not he will campaign on the road in Arizona with Donald Trump here. But of course, when we're talking about a 2016 election and 2020 election that came down to thousands of votes, Howley, a 5% in some of these battleground states are significant margins. And so for the Trump campaign, this would be a big pickup opportunity if, in fact, Mr. Kennedy does, in fact, endorse him.
I don't want to sound crass, Vaughn, but I think it's probably worth asking the question only because this idea has been floated over the past couple of days. Is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. getting something out of this if this ends up going down on Friday, as I think folks believe it's going to go down? Is he going to get like a cabinet post? Because Donald Trump's been talking about this a little bit, right?
Right, and Nicole Shanahan herself suggested that he would be interested in serving as Health and Human Services Secretary. Of course, he is a big vaccine skeptic or anti-vaxxer, and I want to let you listen because our own colleague, Alec Hernandez, had a one-on-one interview with J.D. Vance, the Republican vice presidential candidate, today amid this discussion and asked whether there would be an exchange of a cabinet post for a Kennedy endorsement 2.5 months out. Take a listen.
Clearly, Donald Trump is not going to say, I'll give you a cabinet position if you give me an endorsement. But he's been working for RFK's endorsement because RFK represents, I think, an old guard of the Democratic Party that was patriotic, that was actually very supportive of American workers, and that unfortunately isn't very welcome in today's Kamala Harris-led Democratic Party. So I've been working to get RFK and the people who support RFK to support the President Trump's campaign.
This could very well, Hallie, be a potentially significant move here by Mr. Kennedy at the end of this week in Arizona.
Some very interesting stuff going on. If you read this. I mean, not read it, but I went over this in an article that I read. Go ahead and click that, and you'll see what Nicole Shanahan and Kennedy Jr. have to say about the media, about MSNBC, CNN, and they explain, or actually Nicole explains, why if they do drop out, they will support Donald Trump. And just check that out and tell me what you think about it. But what do you think about this video? It's very interesting stuff. How do you think it'll play out if Kennedy does drop out and support Donald Trump? What do you think? If you got any value out of this video, consider giving us a like and subscribing and hitting the notification bell. I'll catch y'all on the next video. Y'all take care. Peace.